Chapter 16. Welcome to the city of mad people, the sick brains, the twisted minds, a metropolis with many stories. But like any other metropolis, it started with a village. Back then, it seemed like everyone was looking for something here. So they gathered in the pub and looked at each other really carefully. They looked with their hands, with their mouths. They looked in the kitchen and in the bed. And perhaps they really did find something. But the problem is, even if you find something, you might lose it. And no matter how hard you try, you can't find it again. I don't understand. It was here just a minute ago. The worst part is when there is only one person that can't find it anymore. The conversations could go something like this.
I'm really sorry. We have looked and looked. I just can't find it anymore.
But how can you not see it? Her boyfriend might say. It's right there. And then he would point right at it. It is right there.
I'm really sorry, I just can't see it anymore.
If people couldn't find it anymore, they eventually gave up and stopped looking altogether, which could be very difficult for those who still could find it. Because it was still there. They could show up in the middle of the night, crying, holding something in their hands. But how can you not see it? It's right here. It's beautiful. And look, you can touch it if you want.
Look, you have to let this go. It's not there anymore.
It might take years before it began to fade. You felt jaded. You thought you would never look again. But the interesting thing was that you always tried again. Even the most bitter pessimists dreamt in secret about finding something. And then, of course, there were the hopeless seekers who spent their whole lives looking for something. The armies marched past this peaceful village, fired in some other direction. Everyone had enough to eat, and it became spring every year. Up on the slopes, a gardener walked around and pruned the apple trees, thinking, I hate this job. It's so cold and boring. I like it better in the winter, when there is nothing to do. And then he would climb down from the ladder, and self-pitying, carry it to the next tree. In this village, everyone held on to traditions. It did not matter if you did not want to or did not have any talent. If your father and his father before him had been a gardener, you had to become a gardener too. The same was true for the sailors and fishermen. And every spring, there was at least a few boys that were forced to go out on the ocean for the first time, whether they wanted to or not.
Is it your first time?
Said an older boy, repairing a net.
Don't you worry about it. We'll be fine.
And then the older boy started bragging about all the places he had been. He had been to the fish market in Iskar twice, and once his father had taken him all the way to Manim to unload all the fish, while his dad drank beer with his friends. He kept bragging about his travels and talked about his plans for the future. One day he would move away from here, perhaps all the way to London. He had a super rich friend there, where he could stay. Then perhaps he would become an alchemist.
Do you know there's an alchemist living here in the village?
The little guy said.
Any kid knows that there's an alchemist in the village. She lives next door to me.
Really?
The little guy flickered with his eyes, looking down into the sand.
I have heard that she is very dangerous. I have heard that she eats small boys for breakfast.
That's just something parents say to scare little boys to stay away from her. But yeah, it is true. She probably would eat you for breakfast.
The older boy said and laughed, because it was so easy to scare the little guy.
What are you still doing here?
His father smacked him over the head.
I told you to get the lunch half an hour ago.
The older boy got up.
Yes, Father. Right away, Father. I was just trying to repair the net, like you told me.
Are you talking back to me?
No, sir.
Then get out of here. I'm bloody starving.
And then he yelled after the boy,
And bring beer!
The boy ran away as fast as he could. Despite the fact that he was so fat, the boy, let's call him Timmy from now on, was really fast. He ran over the bridge, took a shortcut by the stairs, his belly fat and tits bounced up and down under his t-shirt, a classic example of a mother who was overfeeding her only child. There was still some scattered snow on the graveyard, and snowdrops were growing among the dead leaves. Timmy lived with his mom and dad on the hillside, where they had a fantastic view of the valley and the cliffs that plunged into the sea. In vernacular, The cliffs were called the Jaw. One huge mountain on each side, with a narrow streak of water in between that led out to the ocean. When there was no wind, it almost looked like an X, with the two mountains reflecting in the water. Once, he'd even seen some tourists taking pictures of it.
Oh my god, this is so picturesque. I have to take some pictures. Look, there's a local. Hi!
Hello.
Timmy waved back.
Oh, I just spoke with a local. You have to post that online.
I can't.
The guy said, looking at his phone.
There's no internet connection here.
Timmy rushed into the garden, opened the front door. No one locked their front doors here. Grabbed the lunch, and threw the embarrassing note from his mother saying that she loved him very much in the trash. Remember, right, the beer. Out to the root cellar in the backyard, grabbed 2 beers between his thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger, back into the house and thought, okay, I'm just going to play a little bit of video games. He had been the first in the village who had a game console, and for a few months, all the children had gathered in his living room every day after school. Several had asked if he wanted to be their best friend, but now another kid had a better game console, so all the kids had gone to his place instead. He was sitting there playing, when all of a sudden there was an explosion, and green, toxic smoke poured up from the house across the street. Timmy continued to play until he could save. He just finished another level, and then he ran out. Tried to open the front door, but it was locked, so he peeked in through the blown-out window.
Is everything all right in there?
Someone coughed in there, and cursed.
Fucking horsecock! Fucking big horsecock! I messed up again.
Smoke swelled out the broken window. Timmy got tears in his eyes. He had to step back, and screamed with his hands like a big megaphone.
Is everything all right in there?
Timmy?
The voice was coughing.
Timmy?
I am out here, in the garden.
Something big scraped against the floor. Then something fell down, and suddenly a metal mask leaned out through the window.
Hi, Timmy.
Hello, Siv.
Wait a minute. I just have to take this stupid mask off. I can't see anything now.
Do you need help?
Sweetheart, that would be amazing. These schools are so annoying. Come in. You may enter, but go through the back door, please. The front door is...
What is wrong with it?
Nothing at all.
Have you been paranoid again? Siv, there are no such things as a monster in the mountains.
I know that, but sometimes when he gets here, he has begun to ask me again if I want to marry him. Then I got scared and welded the front door.
Can't he come through the back door?
No. He says he wants to be open about his intentions and not sneak around anymore. I think I know what that means.
But you don't have to be scared, Siv. There is no monster. No one wants to marry you.
I know no one wants to marry me. I know. I just get paranoid from time to time. I think it is the crystals.
Crystals? Oh, are you making another golem heart?
Shh, not so loud. Not so loud.
The metal mask somehow looked paranoid.
Not so loud.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Timmy whispered. Then he asked again, but quietly.
Are you making another golem heart?
I am, but it keeps exploding all the time.
Can I see it? Please. I want to see it.
The metal mask looked at the boy. Then it said,
Sure, but on one condition.
What?
You have to keep it a secret.
I promise.
Some things were still burning when Timmy came through the back door, spreading a nasty smoke.
Siv? Where are you?
I am here.
Timmy looked behind him. Siv? There was some pot with an exotic plant he had not seen before. That was what he loved about being at Siv's place. She had so much cool stuff. His father had just screamed that it was vulgar to have potted plants.
Do you take a whale into a house? No. Do you take a storm into a house? No.
But Dad, maybe we can take something smaller into the house, like a wild cat. And maybe we can close the windows so that it doesn't get so cold in the winter.
Bah! I don't believe it. My own son. My only son. When I grew up, we were left to survive in the mountains. Me and 3 other boys, we had to get our own food and fight to survive with our hands.
You played cowboys and got lost in the mountains.
His mother said,
Do not talk so much.
and his father snorted so that his big mustache was shaking.
Maybe, but that night made a man out of me.
You cried.
His mother shouted, annoyed.
I did not.
Oh, yes, you did cry. I was there when they found you. You cried like this. Mommy, mommy, mommy.
Timmy had to laugh. It was so funny. But he stopped as soon as his father looked at him.
Bah, we're not getting a cat. End of story. That's vulgar.
Siv has one.
What did you say?
Nothing, sir.
Don't you ever mention that woman's name in my house. Not in my house. That woman is a witch and a disgrace for this town.
That is true, Timmy.
His mother said.
She is dangerous. I do not want you talking to her.
Okay.
Timmy, look at me. That woman is dangerous. You must promise not to talk with her.
I promise.
The green smoke slowly scattered, so you could actually see something.
Siv?
Over here.
Now he saw her. She was standing in the small laboratory. He could have sworn she was not there a moment ago. She was wearing a gray armor, full of scratches. It was her anti-explosion armor, and she almost never took it off.
What are you scared of?
Timmy used to ask her every time they talked with each other. She did not answer. Not every day. She did not like to talk about her feelings.
I can start if you want to.
Timmy looked up into the ceiling.
I am scared of my father. What are you scared of?
Everything.
Everything?
Everything.
She said.
No, that is different.
How? I am something.
She did not answer. Sometimes she didn't answer if he asked too many stupid questions. His teacher used to say that there were no stupid questions, that he could ask anything. But that was not true. You can't ask anything. Some things just hurt too much. There are no stupid questions. Siv could growl, Siv would growl. Just stupid people. Don't touch me. I don't like being touched. Then she put her metal mask on and tightened the screws very, very tight, and sat down.
Go home, Timmy. I want to be alone.
Shall I come back next Sunday?
Go home, Timmy.
But today she seemed happy, just a little bit annoyed, studying the blueprints.
Why doesn't it work? I don't understand it. Why? Timmy, why doesn't it work?
Have you tried to stabilize the core?
Yes. I've tried it 1,000 times. It just doesn't work. I can't understand. I don't. Why does it keep exploding in my face? Be stable. Like bone or rock. Like a bone.
She was holding the heart in her hands, studying it from a distance. On the table lay the empty body.
Why can't it be like metal? I can understand metal. You can bend and melt it, put an engine on it and it will walk. But flesh? So fragile.
She turned the heart in her hands.
I hate things I don't understand. Do you also hate things you don't understand?
That is impossible.
Why?
Timmy blushed, looking down at the floor.
I would hate so many things then.
I see.
He wished he could see her face, but she almost never showed her face for him. Almost all the smoke was gone now. Only one single flame was burning on the table, close to the kerosene.
Siv?
She did not answer.
Siv?
Siv, the kerosene! What is with the kerosene? Hydrocarbon 11 to 14 carbon atoms, the molecular formula for kerosene, CnH2n plus 2. Flashpoint 37 degrees Celsius. Repeat.
hydrocarbon 11 to 14 carbon atoms. The molecular formula is CnH2n plus 2. Flash point 37 degrees Celsius. The same temperature as human flesh without a fever.
Good.
But Siv?
What? I'm busy, very busy. Look at this. So many papers, only one brain. I need 10 brains.
I know, but Siv, the flame.
What flame?
Timmy pointed at the small flame.
What's with it? Fire, oxidation, releases heat and light. You can use it for cooking. Are you hungry?
Should we not put it out? Mom says that fire can be very dangerous.
Is that so?
Yes, Mommy is almost always right,
Well then,
She said.
if your mother says that, then it's best that we put it out. I can respect a woman who is almost always right.
Siv put down the golem heart.
Watch this.
She said. She stood with her legs wide apart, leaning forward over the growing fire. For a moment nothing happened. Then, a colorless drop of spit came running out from her metal mask. It was holding on to the mask until it became so big that it fell down on the fire and put it out with a hissing tss. She wiped the mask.
Pretty cool, huh?
Timmy looked at the huge pool with spit.
Does your mother know that you're here?
Yes.
Liar.
I'm not allowed to lie. Mom gets very angry.
Well, your mother is not here, is she? Maybe she has gone away and left you with me?
Timmy shook his head.
She would never do that. She does not trust you. She says that you are dangerous.
Is that so?
Timmy nodded.
Well then, your mommy is almost always right.
Not all the time.
But most of the time.
Yes,
He nodded, looking at the floor.
she's almost always right.
Oh, Timmy, that is not a very nice thing to say. You're hurting my feelings.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to.
Timmy looked at the floor.
Are you scared of me? Do you think I'm dangerous?
You can be very hard sometimes.
Just like your father.
Well, I am scared of my father.
Look at me. Timmy, look at me.
He looked at her, but not in the eyes.
You are a good boy. I would never hurt you, but if your dad hits you again, I would kill him.
You would?
Luckily, she did not answer, but just looked out the window.
Speaking of the devil,
Timmy turned around and saw his father stand in their garden, staring at the open door.
Oh, shit.
are you in trouble?
She said and looked at him.
I was supposed to bring his lunch, but that was more than an hour ago.
Then
she shoved him down from the table.
get away from the window. You don't want your father to see you here.
And then she just carried on looking through the microscope.
I should probably go.
The damage is done.
Siv said.
You would do best to stay here until he has calmed down.
Then she scratched her head.
Timmy, can you help me take off the mask? I can't think in here. Are you really scared of me?
She asked, while sitting on a chair in front of Timmy.
You can be very hard sometimes.
I am sorry.
He pulled out a screw.
It is okay.
You're such a bright boy. I can understand why the girls like you.
I just ask too many stupid questions.
There are no stupid questions.
Just stupid people.
She got silent. Then she said,
I am sorry.
He pulled out another screw.
Do you like someone?
No,
He pulled out another screw.
You should not be like me. It is not good to be alone all the time.
but I don't like anyone. Girls are stupid.
Is that so?
It is so.
I see.
All they want to do is to hug me and talk with me and write love letters and talk about my pictures. I don't paint well.
You hug me sometimes, and I don't like that.
That is different.
He pulled out another screw. There was just one left now.
Are you sure? You know, I am a girl, sort of.
That's different.
Why?
It's just different.
He pulled out the last screw, removed the mask, and suddenly he could see her face. She had the most beautiful dark eyes. They were looking at him. They were looking at him so much. Timmy looked away. They were burning him. They always burned him. He did not know how. She smiled and looked very happy.
What?
I know what the problem is now. I know how to fix the heart.